How's it going, my dreamers? This is Born to Dream, back with another raid boss guide for you guys. Be sure to leave a like down below if you're enjoying the video, subscribe for some more Pokemon Go content, and be sure to check out the playlist in the description down below if you like seeing previous videos of the Pokemon raid boss guide things. I guess is what I'm going to call it for right now. So, the previous two boss guides were on Machamp and Vaporeon. If you missed it, the next one after this is going to be on Arcanine. But you guys probably clicked on the video for Gengar. And as you can see, Gengar hits like a truck. Like an absolute truck. I mean, look at this attack stat. 261 attack. Rank 6, that's probably like Mewtwo and like, I don't know, maybe T-Tar's higher in attack stat. But yeah, Gengar is definitely in the top 10 for attack stats. And as most of you guys know, Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball is the best moveset in the game overall for Gengar, considering its attack stat and considering how much DPS this move combination gives. But Gengar is one of the frailer mons in the game among, Pokemon that are actually competitive, not anything stupid like Sunkern. But among Pokemon that are pretty competitive, Gengar is definitely the frailest of the competitive Pokemon. But Gengar is awesome to have in raid battles, and personally, Gengar is one of my favorites. Mostly because I live in California and I don't see a lot of Ghastlies. So, getting a Gengar is pretty sweet. And again, it just does so much damage with its move pool. Even with Hex Shadow Ball, it does a lot. But, yeah, so this is Gengar. You're looking at 2,619 max CP for Gengar. I didn't mention Vaporeon's max CP or its perfect IVs, or maybe I did. No, I think I did. But perfect IVs for Gengar is going to be 1496. That is what you want if you would like a perfect IV Gengar. And as you guys will see later on, I got pretty close to perfect. So, but anyways, you guys will see that later. Here are all the movesets for Gengar. The ones you guys are going to worry about is Hex Shadow Ball, let's see, Hex Sludge Bomb, Sucker Punch Shadow Ball, Sucker Punch Sludge Bomb, let's see what else, Hex Focus Blast, not Sucker Punch, I think this is Legacy, yeah, and then Sucker Punch Focus Blast. Those are going to be the moves that you're worried about. Gengar has a lot of legacy moves, but those are the ones that you are worried about if you want to be able to solo a Gengar. And yeah, Hex is slower, but I mean, than Shadow Claw, but I mean, you can't get Shadow Claw now, and Hex isn't too bad. But yeah, so anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the counters for Gengar. So, the Pokemon you want to use most against Gengar is going to be Tyranitar. I think that's fairly obvious, considering, Gengar can't do much to T-Tar outside of Focus Blast. But if Gengar does not have Focus Blast, T-Tar is definitely the mon you want to use. And even if it has Focus Blast from Gengar isn't too bad if you're able to dodge. So, that's what we're looking at for your supreme counters, and then your good counters are going to be, the same two that you had for Machamp, Mewtwo, and Lugia. And then Houndoom, Rhydon, Golem, Dragonite, Gyarados are going to be your good counters. I would say stay away from these two if you can. Mostly because their attacks are pretty slow, unless you have Mudshot Golem. Mudshot Golem might be pretty nice, but stay away from these two if you can, because they're very slow. But I mean, you probably could still pull off a solo with these two. But yeah, so that's what I would say about, you know, ground type attackers, because ground type attackers are really slow. Your glass cannons are going to be your Alakazams, your Espeons, your Executors, and your Gengars. And if you are able to solo Machamp, you probably have a good number of these mons right here. So I would just say, you know, stick with those if you would like, because these guys will do a lot of damage to Gengar. And honestly, the quicker you get rid of the Gengar, the better. And then your tank counters is Snorlax. I wouldn't say Snorlax is too good against Gengar. Maybe you could use it as an anchor if you don't have a Tyranitar, but otherwise, just go with T-Tar. T-Tar is a lot better. So that's what you're looking at for, sorry for not showing you guys, but that's what you're looking at for your, you know, your Supreme, your good counters. From this list, I would probably go with Tyranitar, Mewtwo if you have them, but if you don't, then, you know, you can go with Lugia too if you have them. Houndoom is probably okay for right now. If you don't have T-Tar, Houndoom might be pretty good if you're able to dodge. You know, Bite Crunch, Gyarados is another substitute, and then, you know, your glass cannon. So Alakazam, Espeon, and Gengar is probably what I would go with if I were you. And those would be the ones I think that are best. So again, not Rhydon and Golem because they're a little slow. Dragonite doesn't get super effective damage, so that's a thing. Executor is pretty difficult to dodge with, so yeah. I don't know if you really want to use Executor against Gengar, but if you, like I said before, if you are able to solo Machamp, you should be able to solo Gengar. The thing with Gengar is you really, really, really need to be able to tank the hits in some way, whether it's through dodging or whether it's through having 6 T-Tars. Like, you need some way to eat up Gengar's hits because it hits like a truck. But you can solo Gengar very quickly if you have the right counters. So, anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the battles. Alright, so first up we have Sucker Punch, Sludge Bomb, Gengar. I don't know if this is the easiest. I think it's close between the two, but the only thing is Sludge Bomb gets Stab and it's a 3-bar move. Focus Blast is a 1-bar move. That's a fighting move. That's pretty bad for your fighting types. Focus Blast might be easier, but I went with Sludge Bomb first because this gives you a pretty good idea of just how good Gengar is. Even without Shadow Ball, I mean, look at the damage it's already doing to this Gengar, even though Gengar's really frail. But this thing will fire off Sludge Bombs really quickly. Just like with Aqua Tail, Vaporeon, or, you know, Bite Crunch Tyranitars, it will fire off these Sludge Bombs very quickly. I wouldn't say you should dodge unless you are close to a charge move, which I'm trying to get close to, but I know I didn't get that one off. So I was trying to get that second future set off, but couldn't do it. T-Tar is going to be your MVP. The more T-Tars you have, the easier this will be. But I know a lot of you guys aren't, you know, swimming in T-Tars. So just use whatever your better dark types are, you know, like Houndoom. Obviously you can use Lugia too against Sludge Bomb at least, and Focus Blast if you have a Lugia. But I mean, you can also, you know, dodge with your Glass Cannons, with your Alakazams and your Espeons. You can dodge with those, and then if you don't have any of those, you can go with Dragonite. Just do whatever can do a lot of damage to Gengar, because like I said before, the quicker you beat the Gengar, the better, because, you know, you don't want to take a ton of damage from this Gengar, because Gengar will shred through your team, absolutely shred through your team if you let it. So I got to the red. I almost got to the red in 70 seconds, so that's pretty freaking good. This T-Tar doesn't have crunch, unfortunately, but I use like 2 T-Tars against this thing. Honestly, you could probably just solo this thing with 1 T-Tar, you know, maybe with no T-Tars, but I see people usually need at least 1 T-Tar to solo Gengar, unless you are just amazing at dodging. And once again, I don't really need Lugia. Lugia is overkill. Alakazam is good enough here. Espeon is good enough here. You know, another Gengar is good enough here. So managed to do it in 30 seconds. If you're able to solo Gengar, you'll do it very quickly. If not, it'll just run through your team completely. So, like, that's basically it. Either you can take the hits and do a lot of damage back, or you can't take the hits and you just get completely wrecked. That's kind of how this whole Gengar thing goes. So, one thing to note is Gengar is a lot farther away when you catch it than any of the other raid bosses. So, keep that in mind. Like, you see right there, I pretty much missed it. And I will miss these a couple times until I decide to switch it up. Instead of going from the corner, I actually go to the middle to try and catch this thing. But Gengar is kind of a pain to try and catch. Definitely want to use those pin apps if you can, so you can get those 20 Gengar candies. I never really ever use golden raspberries in level 3 solos. I never see the point. The whole reason you do a level 3 solo is to get those golden raspberries and those candies. So there's no point in wasting it on a level 3 boss. Even if it was perfect, I probably still wouldn't do it. I don't know. It would have to happen first for me to say. But yeah. And I think I actually end up catching it here. 1, 2, 3, click. Awesome. So, yep, there's a Gengar caught. So that is Sucker Punch, Sludge Bomb. This is going to be Hex, Focus Blast, Gengar. You know, if you're able to... I have 2 T-Tars here. Again, you could probably do this with 1, but you need... The less T-Tars you have, the more you have to dodge. So, just keep that in mind. So, yeah, you can probably do this with 1 T-Tar. This is Focus Blast, so if you are using T-Tar, you definitely need to make sure that you are dodging, because this thing will one-shot you if you do not dodge. So we're going for the future sights here. Went with Alakazam first, because Alakazam would do a lot of damage to this Gengar. Able to dodge the Focus Blast. If you're able to dodge Focus Blast, you're in the clear for 1 or 2 more charge moves until it decides to use it again. That's the great thing about one bar charge moves, is that you are able to do a lot of damage in between, versus, you know, Sludge Bomb Gengar, you can't really do as much damage. But I'm going in with the Legacy Gengar, and honestly, you know, Gengar, the Legacy Gengar and the Alakazam are interchangeable, but I went with this in case it needed to eat up a Focus Blast, which you can see there. It managed to eat up a Focus Blast pretty decently. I would still say you might want to dodge with your Gengars, even against Focus Blast, because, you know, it could be the difference between you getting, you know, 2 Shadow Balls off and 3 Shadow Balls off. So, that's kind of a mistake on my part, thinking that the Focus Blast doesn't matter because of the triple resist. It's nice, but, I mean, you want to be able to dodge, and I was not able to dodge with T-Tar there. You see what happens when you can't dodge with T-Tar. It just gets obliterated, so. Luckily, I have a second T-Tar, so we should be alright. I get to the red pretty quickly. Focus Blast, again, you don't have to worry too much about damage, and manage to pull off the dodge there. You get, like, I got to the red in like 80 seconds with T-Tars. If I can do that with T-Tars, then you might be able to solo this Gengar without any T-Tars. But yeah, I probably end up finishing this in about 40-ish seconds. Managed to dodge that one too. One thing I need to note before I move on to the next moveset is you can actually hold down Crunch. You can actually hold down the charge move while you're using Crunch, and you can fire off 2 crunches in a row, versus going for a crunch, and then, you know, doing 2 bites and then an extra crunch. That's something to note if you are using something like T-Tar that has a 2 or 3 bar charge move. That is something to take note of if you are using T-Tar. So, yeah, again, Gengar is such a bitch to catch. It's ridiculous. You have to throw so far to catch the damn thing. It's crazy. But yeah, this thing's gonna keep popping out like crazy. Because that's what Gengar does. I feel like Gengar is way harder. For like Machamp or Vaporeon, I just catch it right away. For Gengar, it's just gotta be a bitch. It's just gotta keep popping out of the ball and, you know, doing Gengar shenanigans. So, I'm still not able to catch it. Is this the one where, like, I don't think it's... I had one where I got down to the last ball. Like, literally the last ball. I don't think this is the one. I had another Focus Blast Gengar clip, but... yeah, I had one that literally went down to the last ball. It's just... it gets ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3. That was such a bad throw, too. Oh, well. So, last but not least... you can see my IV check there. Last but not least, we have the hardest one to solo, and that is Hex Shadow Ball. Gengar gets double stab on this, and Shadow Ball hurts a lot, even if you're using T-Tar. So, I think it would take you from green to yellow. Like, it hurts pretty bad if you don't dodge. So, that's something to note. I have 3 T-Tars here, but again, you can do this with 2 T-Tars. You do need T-Tar against Hex Shadow Ball Gengar, I feel like. So you are able to at least tank the hits and you don't get too dodge happy. This is a Bite Stone Edge T-Tar. Honestly, I count this as like 2.5 T-Tars because Stone Edge is not really a preferred move against Gengar. It's just a really strong rock move, and I actually have it now, so all my T-Tars have Bite Crunch. As you guys will see later on with these guides, I actually do have that. So once again, you can hold down the charge bar again to get the extra crunch off. I just want to, you know, fill up my bar as much as possible, so that way when the Shadow Ball hits like right there, I can, you know, get these crunches off. But I wasn't able to... I don't think I got that off. I don't think I did. I wasn't able to dodge the Shadow Ball, so I could have dodged that and got the extra 2 or whatever crunches off, but it didn't happen. So, just going in with another T-Tar, you know, biting, crunching, all that good stuff. And we get it to the yellow in about, that was pretty close to 100 seconds. So, a minute and 40 seconds, basically, is what's left of this battle. So, yeah, I'm not able to... I don't think I needed to dodge there. I just let T-Tar die. Went in with Gengar here. Again, Gengar you can use in the front. I use, you know, T-Tar in the front because I wanted to get a lot of Stone Edges off against this. So, going for these Shadow Balls. Doing a lot of damage with Gengar. It's pretty awesome. And then I have this Bite Crunch Gyarados. You can use Gyarados against Gengar, but Gyarados is going to take a lot of damage from Shadow Ball, so keep that in mind. It's definitely, it's neutral to Shadow Ball, so it's going to eat up even a dodge hit. Look at that. I dodged, and it still took up that much damage. Like, if I didn't dodge, Gyarados would have been dead. So, and then Alakazam. I've been able to, this isn't really that great of a solo against Hex Shadow Ball, but it shows you how much damage Gengar can do. And actually, this is pretty close when you consider Alakazam was my last mon, and I barely got the dodge off. But yeah, so this wasn't really the best Hex Shadow Ball solo I could show you guys. I mean, I could do better than this now, but yeah, it definitely shows you how difficult Hex Shadow Ball Gengar is. This is honestly, I think, my first attempt at Hex Shadow Ball Gengar, and it took me about 4 or 5 attempts to master it. So, yeah, and then You guys will see I tried to catch Gengar here. This one is actually 10 CP lower than perfect, so this is actually a 93% Gengar, and I actually drove away from the spot because I saw somebody with a cell phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're calling the cops. So, yeah, you guys can see, and I didn't know this was like 93% either. But you guys can see it's just gonna pop out of the Pokeball like it's freaking Raikou or something, and yeah, or Entei. It's Entei this month, like a freaking Entei, and yeah, it'll just keep doing this. That's what happens when you drive too far away from the raid boss. So if you plan on driving away after you finish a raid boss battle, don't, because then this happens. But fortunately for me, I actually did end up getting another 93% Gengar with the same exact CP a little later on, so that's good news for me, I guess. But still kind of sad I wasn't able to catch this particular Gengar. But anyways, look, I even got an excellent, and it's just gonna pop out. But anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all good stuff. Next video will be on Arcanine, and then we'll take a little bit of a break from, I don't know if I'll take a break from it, but it will take me a little while to give you guys the Alakazam guide. So yeah, Arcanine will be next, and Arcanine's a little bit tougher than any of the other bosses that I've shown you guys so far. But yeah, so I will see you guys in that video. Keep living the dream. Goodbye.